Hello everybody, my name's Joe Quick and this is Joe's Quick Review. Today we are following the path of the Teal Lotus, also known as Bow. Developed by Squid Shock Studios, say that 3 times fast, and published by Humble Games. This is a Metroidvania game heavily influenced by Japanese folklore, taking inspiration from games like Hollow Knight, Okami, Studio Ghibli films and more, all of which are evident as you explore the game's world of Strange Garden. It's your job to traverse the world in order to upgrade your staff and overcome certain evils, whilst discovering the truth of your origins and the destiny you must fulfill. It's a very attractive game, but don't be fooled by its cute appearance, as this game has some very challenging platforming and tenacious boss fights. You play as the titular Bow, a small Tentahana. That's Japanese for celestial blossom, which is an original type of yokai, a kind of supernatural spirit or demon, created specifically for the story of the game. Brought to life from the tears of a kami, which is a form of deity, germinating the seed of a flower-bearing plant. As I mentioned before, there is a lot of Japanese folklore throughout this game. As you explore the world, Bow will have their avatar moment where they unlock new skills for their shape-shifting bow staff, allowing you to bat, grapple and bash your way to new areas of the map. There's also Daruma dolls that you can collect, which offer various abilities to assist you on your journey. These are quite easy to forget about and don't offer a significant amount of help or variety in the majority of the gameplay, but there's other occasions where you may find them a lifesaver. Basically, if you've played a Metroidvania before, Ori, Owlboy, Guacamelee and of course Hollow Knight all being popular examples in recent years, then you won't find anything unexpected in this game except for the aesthetics. If you haven't played something similar, you may find this quite challenging, as it throws you in the deep end with a steep learning curve and often requiring near pinpoint precision for attacks and platforming. This seemed inconsistent with some parts being much harder than others, and I personally feel that the difficulty balance needs a lot of focus. After completing the game, I watched a few streams and I was pleased to discover I wasn't the only one having certain difficulties throughout. All in all, you can expect to get 100% completion in around 8 to 12 hours, depending on your skill level. You can't deny that the game is very attractive. The environment's lovingly created in the Japanese style that the developers set out to achieve. It does lose a bit of its quality and charm as they zoom in and out, as certain objects can seem overbearing or the line work of the characters can start to fade. This is perhaps most noticeable in the menu. Also, certain elements and effects seem out of place with the beautifully hand-drawn art and animation, but generally a very pretty game. On the topic of animation, this game has a number of great short animated cutscenes as the city tradesfolk upgrade your equipment. There is also a cutscene as you fast travel between locations, but believe me, you'll quickly get bored of that one. These are really nice additions to what is already a visually appealing, well animated game. The story. A single tear descends from the heavens and lands upon a Teal Lotus floating peacefully in a lake within the forest of the crimson bamboo. Born from this destined collision is Bow, the cute fox-like rabbit Tentahana. Shortly after Bow is brought into existence, the dreaded Gashadokuro also arrives in Strange Garden. Surely this is no coincidence. Needless to say, you must travel the world and succeed in numerous challenges so that you can face the Gashadokuro and stop it from destroying the world. But on your journey, you will also discover the truth about what brought you here. A greater evil perhaps. There is a colourful cast of characters throughout the path of the Lotus who will assist you on your journey, and their character and interactions with Bow develop as the story progresses. If you want to know more about the lore of the world and its characters, there are scrolls and scrolls of information available in the city library. But I can't help but find one underlying element of the story particularly ironic, that being the negative effect of abusing the Earth's resources. All the while we are forced to smash up bamboo and crystals to upgrade our weapon. It's a matter of perspective, I guess. Social responsibility aside, I can't say there is anything new or original about the storyline, but it does stick strongly to its theme and has a nice narrative arc. It's very easy to get lost between all the action, travelling and dialogue, but the quest page in the menu and the previously mentioned scrolls have you covered if you lose sight of what's going on. The user interface is very simple. In the top left corner of the screen you have a kettle. This is your mana supply. You will need it to perform Daruma attacks and heal yourself. To the right of that you have a number of petals which indicate your health. You can take a hit for every petal and then it's back to the save point. The little flame icon is how much Firefox flame you have collected. You may have seen these floating around and they will work as in-game currency. Below your kettle you have your active Daruma, and if you start building up a combo, a gauge appears which will cause your kettle to boil. This can do a number of things, but mainly it is used to create a stronger attack from the Daruma doll. All the menus are self-explanatory and easy to navigate, so overall a nice user experience. The game has very smooth controls, but there is an attack delay which might cause you some grievance. You can either use keyboard or gamepad, however gamepad is the recommended option by the developer for a better gaming experience. Overall the controls follow the industry standard for attack, jump, dash and so on. No surprises here for the regular gamer, but there are a few mechanics that took some getting used to which I'll discuss in a bit more detail later. I'd be inclined to say there's not much for replayability at the moment. There are a bunch of collectibles in the game and a few mini challenges, but you'll probably find that you complete most of these prior to finishing the story. So if you've got 100% completion, or even 90, I'm not sure what would draw you back to this game for a second run, unless of course you're a platforming addict or have a real love for the Japanese aesthetic. The Kickstarter did hit a stretch goal for a Game Plus option, but we haven't seen that in the game just yet. So let's not cross replayability off the list for now. Bow's soundtrack is just as loyal to its Japanese design as the rest of the game, and sets the scene beautifully for each of its locations or confrontations. Composed by Moi Kamago, the tracks can be enjoyed independently of the game, so I'd encourage you to check them out on Spotify or SoundCloud. I've added links in the video description. Despite the many boxes that this game is ticking, it still doesn't cover accessibility very well, but perhaps better than others. To start, it's available in several languages including English, Spanish, French and German. It has a dyslexic font to make it easier to read, but you can't adjust the font size. Standard configurations are available for resolution and also controller keys can be configured, however the customization stops there. Perhaps most interestingly, and not often seen in games, there is no easy, medium, hard option, but you can change the game speed. This does make fighting enemies much easier, as you have more time to read their attack patterns, dodge projectiles and such, but it also means running across the screen at a ridiculously slow pace, making travelling between destinations quite unbearable. Still, it's there to help if you need it. Regardless of the slow speed, you still need pretty hot reflexes to beat the bosses, so I don't think it opens up the game too much if you have limited mobility. Whilst the game's tutorial teaches you most of what you need to know, it's worthwhile going into this game with a bit of a heads up about certain mechanics. When you attack things, it resets your abilities, so you can jump, attack and jump again, or dash, etc. if you've unlocked those abilities. But it's worth noting that there is a downwards attack which will give you an extra push up, and a basic attack which will just reset your abilities. This is fundamental in traversing a lot of the environments. Not only that, but there is an attack delay, so you can't just mash that button in the hope of getting where you need to go. So this downwards attack will probably become your best friend as it hurts your enemies and also pushes you out of danger's way. However, there are elements and enemies in the game that don't react to the downwards attack, so be sure to release the down button before you hit the attack, else you can easily presume they're invulnerable or don't do anything of importance. The game actually has a large variety of enemies. Some you may only see once in the game, so you lose the more traditional sense of knowing what the enemy is and how it's going to attack you. Some of the attacks are generic and others are unexpected, so don't be too relaxed at your approach to a new foe. There was a big following and fan base for this game, so it's no wonder that they reached their goal of $35,000 back in March 2022. In fact, with a variety of pledge levels from a single dollar to $7,000, they surpassed that substantially, raising $175,000 for their project. Stickers, posters and plushie dolls were all available through backing, in addition to adding in-game content such as the blessing slips hanging from the trees scattered across the map. Whether it was the art competitions or public streams, this project was doing something right and definitely one to look at for inspiration. Throughout this review I've been highlighting what's good about the game, but also poking holes in a lot of places. If you've ever studied game design, you'll spot a lot of things that this game captures, and a lot that it doesn't. A big one being the difficulty balance and introduction of gaming mechanics. Good game design dictates that you introduce a player to a mechanic and then build upon it, so that their skills can grow as they progress in the game. A simple example being jumping. Press the button to jump, now jump to a platform, now jump to this platform, but there's lava underneath and you risk losing a life. Bow teaches you the controls and then sends you on your merry way, kind of like being put on a rowboat in the middle of the ocean and expecting to survive. You do learn, but you learn through failing rather than success, so it definitely puts a negative impact on the flow of the game. Some levels and bosses you will breeze through, and others make you want to rage quit, in no particular order. And the game is pretty linear. You can do a little bit of exploring, but you're not going to get far without the necessary power-up, so you find yourself returning to the required path. With a few exceptions. This is the only example I found in this game, but there is one element of level design where it says, hey, you want to be here, and so you find a way to go there, instead of following the intended path, and thus breaking the design. Intended route? Obvious route. I went back and played Hollow Knight briefly after completing this game, and there's something magic about it that Bo just doesn't quite capture. I enjoyed some elements of the game, but others were just really aggravating. It's available now on Steam, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation and Xbox, so if you're looking for something to scratch that itch, then the Teal Lotus is just waiting to be awakened. If you've played Bo, let us know what you think. Was it worth your time? How many times did you throw the control at the TV? Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, keep gaming, and I'll catch you next time.